You are listening to The American Soundbite, a podcast that features common sense thoughts of me, an everyday American. This is the start of the most valuable 10 minutes of your day, so congratulations on joining us. I'm glad you're here for the conversation today. Before we begin, I'd like to ask you to think of, well, maybe a friend or even a family member, possibly a coworker, somebody who, well, doesn't have the information that they need to truly be interesting in the mornings. Maybe they're not up to date on current events or just lack the talking points they need to carry on a decent, intelligent conversation. Let them know that you start your day by listening to the American Soundbite and that they should too. They can find us on Amazon Alexa, on Google Podcasts, on Apple iTunes, and even on iHeartRadio. That's right, we're everywhere. You can download podcasts today. So we are all aghast in news over COVID-19 once again. Here we are nearing the end of November, less than a week from the Thanksgiving holiday where families get together to, well, give thanks and celebrate all that is America. And yet, all over the news, we're hearing reports of increased cases of COVID-19. We're hearing reports of cities that are restricting movement of people and states that are locking things down or placing curfews all over the place. And, of course, we have Joe Biden, who has offered the incredible advice yesterday that I'm not going to shut the economy down over COVID. I'm going to shut the disease down. We got to wear a mask, man. I'm going to shut the disease. I'm going to listen to the science about stopping the disease, not stopping business. We're going to stop the disease. And what we're going to do is we're going to look at local sectors where there's COVID outbreaks, and we're going to help the cities and the counties and the states. We're going to help them to coordinate. We're going to do everything that President Trump has done for the last, well, almost a year since COVID's been on the scene. But it's going to be different because it's Joe Biden saying it. No, okay. Anyhow, that was a little rant. I'm totally, well, not really off topic, but that's not the topic of today. But listen to his presser from yesterday where he was talking about how he's not going to shut the economy down. He doesn't want to affect business. There's ways to do it that make sense, that we just focus on stopping the disease. We're going to stop the disease, not the economy. We're going to shut the disease down. We're not going to shut the economy down. That was a ramble, sorry. So, we have all of these cities and towns talking about lockdowns or starting lockdowns or implementing unenforceable, acknowledged by the governors, unenforceable curfews. And we're getting advice not to celebrate Thanksgiving. Now, first of all, let's think about that for a minute. In America, we celebrate Thanksgiving. Ostensibly, the discovery of America, the foundation of the first colony, and their establishment as they harvest and kill and, well, celebrate coming together between the colonialists, the colonial people, and the indigenous people. That's right, I did say it. The Injuns, they got together and they celebrated together as one. They celebrated basically what is the start of America. So every year we get together and we celebrate our lives. We celebrate our families. We celebrate our friends. We give thanks for this amazing country that we live in. However, we've got government officials who are now telling us you shouldn't celebrate America. That should say a lot by itself. But they're telling us not to get together, that it's way too dangerous to get together with your family members to eat a meal. And so you should make other plans or do it over a Zoom meeting. I wonder if they own stock in Zoom, by the way. they're saying to do it over a Zoom meeting. You know, you can enjoy each other's company just fine over the television. That's all you need. So why exactly are they telling us this? And is it based in fact? Is it based on data? Is it based on the science? Well, I would argue that any governor who says that we need a curfew from 10 p.m., which seems to be the magical number going around the country, until 5 a.m., we got a solid lockdown of anybody who isn't going to go out and doesn't have anything to do. You have to stay home. Yes, you did hear that right. If there's nothing that you have to do and you don't need to go anywhere, then you have to stay home. However, they're ordering these lockdowns because apparently the virus, COVID-19, the Rona, apparently the coronavirus is much more deadly. It's more virile. They're nocturnal, the virus is. So they sleep during the day. You can go out and interact with your friends and family members and anybody that you want during the day. But at night, you better lock up and hermetically seal your house because the virus is coming after you. Now, it's like they watched an episode of The Living Dead. And they said, you know, enough Americans watch that sitcom, that show, whatever it's called, the sci-fi thriller. And so they're going to believe that it's safe to stay home. But ladies and gentlemen, that's not based on fact. The virus is out there all the time. The truth of the matter is that many of us have already had it. And if we haven't, we've been exposed to it. And if we haven't, then we're going to, because you can't hide from a virus. I was talking last night with a friend of mine who happens to be a nurse, a very liberal nurse, I may say. And we were talking, and she told me that she was very concerned because when they are testing people for the Rona, for COVID-19, for this virus, this deadly, lethal virus, when they find somebody who is positive, they obviously notify the person, hey, yesterday your test came back, or today your test came back from yesterday, and it was positive. You got the Rona. You got to lock yourself down. But during the testing process, they find out who lives in your house, who's in your household, who, well, breathes the same air as you. And she was concerned because the hospitals, therefore the counties, therefore the states, therefore the country, isn't just counting your test as being a positive case. They're counting everyone in your household as effectively being positive for COVID-19. So if you live in a household, let's say with 6 people, and you test positive, but no one else in your family has it, that's 6 people that we're counting as having COVID. That's right. That's what she was concerned about. She's concerned about misinformation. She's concerned that people are being misguided. She's concerned that the truth isn't out there. Interesting, isn't it? So, number one, the numbers of people who are infected with COVID that's being reported based on this person in the medical field's testimony to me last night is hugely inflated, because whether you live with 1 person or 2 people or 4 people or 12 people, however many people are in your household is the number that's reported as numbers who are infected with COVID-19, not 1 person who tested positive. So number 1, that is a concern. But number 2, we know that the states are taking action that doesn't make sense. Go into your home and lock yourself down at night. Don't go out at night, but it's okay to go to work and to socialize and go to the gym and go to restaurants and sit down and take your mask off and have all kinds of food during the day. But when you're at a restaurant, if you're simply walking from the front door to the table, you absolutely have to have your mask on because the virus exists at standing height. But once you sit down, go ahead, take it off, eat your meal. You know, when you're eating, moisture comes out of your mouth. You're opening your mouth, you're chewing, shit's coming out of you. Even though you don't intend it, even though you don't notice it, more particles are coming out of you when you're eating than probably at any other time, unless you sneeze. But when you're sitting down at a meal, you're fine. Even though there's a table right over there and there's 1,000 other people in the restaurant, it's okay because you're sitting down. But as soon as you stand up, you better put that mask on because when you get up here, that's where the virus lives. When you're down here, you're safe. You're protected. You're all cool. So we've got actions that are being taken. In some cities, they're shutting down schools. But when you look at the data, there literally has been almost a 0% of tracked transmission at schools or school-related events of youngsters throughout this country. Almost no youngsters are getting sick when they're at school, but we're shutting down schools or limiting access to schools because of COVID. But COVID isn't being transmitted at the schools. So we've got all kinds of inconsistencies. We've got all kinds of things that are going on. We've got all kinds of irrational action being taken because of a virus that, by the way, across the country, we have a 99.6% chance of surviving once we're infected. That's right. The number of people who get infected is an irrelevant and irrational number. The number of people who are admitted to the hospitals maybe is a little bit more practical of a number to look at, or a percentage of the people who were tested to the number of people who are admitted to a hospital may be a good number or a good factor to consider. Certainly, the number of people who are dying from this disease as a percentage or a ratio to the total number of people who have tested positive would be something that would make sense to look at. And if the ratio of people that are dying from this disease is high as a percentage of the number of people that are diagnosed with the disease, then there's an issue. The same way we look at, cancer or, any other disease that's out there. As the percentage of likelihood of death increases, we do need to take more precautions. But if it's low, it's low. And realistically, looking at numbers of people who are testing positive and counting all of their family members or those that are in their household is a completely irrelevant and asinine number to use to base any decisions on, especially when the decisions that they're making have no real impact on the transmission or lowering the transmission of this disease. The media and the government in general is out there spreading all kinds of disinformation. They're trying to scare you. They're trying to keep you on edge. They're trying to steer you away from the bakery down the street or the local retail shop that, by the way, is about to have their Black Friday sale. But the government's telling you, don't go out and shop. Don't go to the local places. Just go to the big online retailers, because those are the people who donate to our campaigns and keep us in office. So those are the people that you should really be spending your money on. That's only an assumption by me. But they are telling us not to go out and instead to shop online. You know, the big stores that have all their inventory and have everything on there, and you can make an easy transaction and they'll ship it right to you in 2 days. But it's all irrational. It's all irrelevant. It's all intended to scare you, to manipulate you, to take specific actions that benefit a small group of politicians who have too much power. Politicians that have too much power, by the way, are called swamp creatures. They live in the swamp. or call it the deep state. They're all corrupt politicians. They need to be gone. Unfortunately, we as Americans let way too many of them, one is too many, get back into office in Washington, D.C. We need to learn from our mistakes. We need to stop letting incumbent congressmen serve a second term. We need to replace Congress with everyday average Americans, the lady down the street or the baker from that store around the corner. We need average people, true Americans, serving in Congress, because those are the people that know what's going on. Those are the people that listen to you. Those are the people who do, well, the same things that you do, and therefore they know, because they're talking to you, what you need, and they'll take actions that are in your best interest. That's what the House of Representatives is all about. They're supposed to be representing us, we the people, you and me. And if they are listening to the party because they're career politicians, that's what they do. And if they're influenced by special interest groups, that's what career politicians do, then they're not listening to you or I. They're not representing you or I. They're representing their party. They're representing their special interests. They are ignoring the people. And the House of Representatives is there to represent us, not their parties, not their special interests. It's time that we take action. We've got 2 years to assemble a group of people who are willing to serve one term, just 2 years, in Washington, D.C., to set legislation, to decide the direction of our government and actions that our government needs to take that are in the best interest of the people. Not the best interest of special interests, not the best interest of the parties, not the best interest of the swamp. We need to find people who are willing to go in and serve 2 years and help them to get into office in districts all across the country. All 435 seats of Congress get reelected every 2 years. That means in 2 years from, well, a couple weeks ago, we can vote all of them out of office and replace them with normal people instead of career politicians. That's what we need to do. Don't be afraid of COVID. Take precautions. Protect yourself. Protect your family. But don't watch the numbers because they're lies. Don't listen to your political leaders because they believe they're your leaders and not your representatives. Look at the facts. Talk to people in the industry. Talk to people who haven't been influenced by the media. And make your own decisions on how to protect yourself. Be with your family. Love your family. Spend time with them. None of us know how much time we have left. We could get in a car accident. We could die in a train wreck. We could fall down the stairs. Or if you simply just know Hillary Clinton, well, you're more likely to have any of those three things happen to you. So don't listen to the media. Make your own decision. You're smart. You're intelligent. You've got a great head on your shoulders. And you can decide what's in your best interest because, well, America is all about your best interest, not the collective good. And remember to talk to all your friends and your family members and your neighbors and let them know that they should consider running for Congress. They've got 2 years to put a campaign together to get the signatures that are necessary and get their name on the ballot. It will benefit all of us in America to have average Americans, we the people, in office. That's the way the founders, well, foresaw it. That's the way they created the office. That's why they made the term only 2 years, because they want us to turn that office as often as possible. You have been listening to an episode of The American Soundbite, a podcast that features common sense thoughts of me, an everyday American. This has been the most valuable, well, almost 20 minutes of your day. We went a little bit long. If you enjoyed the content today, if you like the topic that we talked about or like the format of the show overall, click on that like button down below. It lets me know that you enjoyed it and encourages me to keep doing more. If you didn't like what I had to say, if you disagreed with me, or if you just want to argue, type that in the comment box. I read the comment boxes, I read the comments that are posted, and I do use those to affect future programs. Right next to that like button is the share button. Let your friends, your family members, even your coworkers on social media know that you start your day by listening to the American Soundbite, and they should too. The American Soundbite is a great way to get information and start thinking for yourself. Thanks a lot for joining us. I hope you have a great day, and God bless.